Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. See on your Google Classroom, I have posted one software, TASM. Zip file is there. Please download that file on your laptop or desktop machine. Just check there is TASM software is there for Windows machine to download that file and tell me if any difficulty is coming in that. That is the software that we need to execute our assembly language programs. Okay, Anurag, working very good. On your deck. Once you run that zip file, you open and see there is one icon coming on your desktop, TASM 1.4. The symbol is apple shape. So today we are going to start with instruction set for 8086 and we will start simple programs, and it is advantages for first time that simultaneously we can perform the experiments in TASM software. Otherwise, when I taught this subject in the classroom, we first used to see all the programs in the theory class and then in the lab we used to implement that. But due to this online classes, simultaneously we can see. I'll explain you the different instructions and the simple ways how to write the programs. And then as per the experiment list, we are going to perform all the experiments on that. So once you download that, you see that on your desktop, you should get the Apple chip icon for TASM software. Once you finish it, please type in the chat box. Okay, meanwhile, let me tell you about one assignment in the on the Moodle I have already posted, and you are supposed to complete that assignment. The deadline is also given on the Moodle. I'll just share my screen. Yeah. Till that software gets downloaded on your machine, just see here. This is your lab assignment. As you know, you don't have any assignments for theory syllabus. Your term work is calculated based on the experiments that you will perform and two or three lab assignments as per the requirement. Minimum two is there, and maximum as per my LO's numbers, I might give you more assignments also. Very simple, two or three questions in one assignment I will be giving you. So for that, this is your lab assignment number one on LO number two. LO number two is your analyze and design combinational circuits. So analyze and design combinational circuit is the part based on your chapter number one. fundamentals of digital logic design. So this assignment takes 20 marks. 4 questions are there. Already we know how to solve the Boolean equation and how to design a logic diagram for that. So this question is to design the logic diagram for this various Boolean equations given in the question. The first equation given here is y is equal to ab plus cde plus f. You are not supposed to solve or simplify this equation further, because this is already a simplified equation is given to you. Your question is just design it using NAND gate. Now if you see AB and then plus is for OR gate, AB is for your AND gate. So AND and OR gate can be used for this. But the question here is asked only using NAND gate. So NAND gate, you know, it is universal gate. So using this NAND gate only, you are supposed to design this equation. Just see what kind of diagram you will get and how many gates you need to use for that. Second equation you have is SOP expression is given, and your question is again design it using NAND gate. So this SOP equation, 3 terms are given, 0, 1, 5. So when this 0, 1, 5, 3 terms are there, you are supposed to first draw KMF for this and then see whether you need to simplify it further. For this equation, both the equations that I have included here, question number 2 as well as question number 4, when you are going to draw KMF for this, you need to further simplify this equation. So once you simplify this equation, you will get some output. And then for that output, like y is equal to some AB plus CD, I'm just telling you randomly. So like that, you will get some equation over there. And then you design circuit using NAND gate for that. So this is for first and second question. Third question and fourth is depending on your NOR gates. You're supposed to design NOR gate for this. Again, this F is equal to something. This is a final simplified equation given to you. No need to further simplify this. Just take this equation as it is and you try to design logic diagram for this using only NOR gates. Don't use any other gate for this. Similarly, you have the last question here. One POS expression is given. This is product of sum. So this product of sum equation is given to you. You first draw KMAP for this, then try to simplify the equation and then see whatever final equation you are getting F is equal to. For that, you design it using NOR gate. So these 4 questions are there. Each question carries 5 marks. For question number 1, I repeat, question number 1 and 3, no need to further simplify the equation. You pick up the equation as it is and you just design it using question number 1 for using NAND gates and question number 3 using NOR gates. No need to further simplify this. Please remember this. You have to go for further simplification using KMAP only for these 2 equations, question number 2 and question number 4. One is given in SOP format, second is given in POS format. The SOP equation you will design using NAND gate and POS equation you will design using NOR gate. So these 4 questions are there. This assignment will be handwritten assignment. When you are going to design this assignment or write this assignment, any paper you can use. It should be clearly visible because you are going to take picture of it and submit it online. So create only one PDF file of all the pictures that you are going to upload there. Only one PDF file. Whatever number of pictures you will click, you combine that together and create only one PDF file of it. And on every page, please mention your roll number and your name. On every page, I'm saying, because there are few students who will take undue advantage of this also. I don't want to take any name of any student, but I don't want to go for investigation of that again. It is wasting my time. So better, this is for your practice only. You may get similar kind of questions even in the practical exam. as well as in the theory also. So better you will get a good practice on this. So please clearly mention when you are going to submit this assignment, lab assignment number 1, clearly write down this LO. Here it is clearly given. You just need to copy this LO as it is. I'm finding there are few students whose experiment when I'm finding, I don't know from where number 8 is coming here. ITL 403.2. This 403, ITL 403 is the course code for MPL, microprocessor lab. And then point 1, point 2 is based on LO number 1, LO number 2. For some students, I'm finding somewhere number 8 is coming. And when it is coming for one student, obviously it will come for multiple students because we all are copycat. So don't do that. When you are copying, just keep your senses live and see what things you are copying, whether it is correct or it is wrong. Those who are copycats, for them, I am telling this. So please clearly read it. You will be writing your lab assignment number 1. You will be writing this one, LO, and then every page you should be writing your roll number as well as your name on every page. And the date of this assignment for submission already posted on the Moodle. You check over there what is the deadline, and accordingly you submit it on time. Fine. Any doubts in this assignment, please ask, else we will proceed for our next part of the program. Okay, now then we will start with this part of the syllabus for the instruction set. Okay, now your software is ready with you. Keep it as it is. First see here, and then I will tell you when to start with the software and write the programs in that. So before we start for writing assembly language program, we should know what are the different instructions available for 8086. Because if I know instructions, then only I will be able to use that in the program. So this is the first part when you start studying for assembly language. One part is addressing modes that yesterday we have seen for various examples of instructions. Now we will start here for instruction set. Now this instruction set is divided into various types of instructions. The main category are given here like data transfer, data manipulation, and data control instruction or program control instruction. Then there are few instructions which are available for hardware control as well. So hardware as well as software control is also possible. We are going to write all the instructions or all the programs here for software instructions. But there are few instructions which are available for hardware when you are going to do manual hardware interfacing of 8086 with some another ICs in maximum mode. That time you should need to write or need to use this hardware control instructions also. For our case, right now we are going to use only the software instructions. And 8086 is providing you a large set of instructions with which you can handle various operations. From that, the first category you have is data transfer instructions. The name itself is telling you data transfer means I want to transfer data from one location to another. Or I may say I want to transfer data from source to destination. So for every instruction for data transfer, you need to mention their source as well as destination. So this source and destination, what it will be, so that is given. The most common transfers are either you can go from memory and processor register, like you can take data from memory, that is your source, and destination will be register, or it can be vice versa, source and destination can be changing their positions as per the requirement of our program. Next is you can go for registers and input output devices. Like I am going to give some number via keyboard, and then processor should accept this and keep this in some registers. So that is also possible. And the third one you have is register to register transfer. Like from one register, I can transfer the data to another register. So these are the most common ways for data transfer. Then this table is telling you what are the different instructions available for data transfer. The very first one, column name mnemonic. Mnemonic is the short form or the code word that you are going to write for that instruction. Like I call it as a move, MOVE, but actual instruction when I am going to write is MOV, because this is the mnemonic given for this instruction. And for every mnemonic given, you are going to have operation code internally for every instruction in hexadecimal number for your processor. And that hexadecimal number will be converted into binary, and then respective control signals are generated by the control unit circuitry of any microprocessor. So the basic architecture diagram that we have seen, you can recall over there. So if I'm going to write data transfer instruction MOV, what this instruction is asking you, it requires destination and source. Please remember the positions will be as it is. You cannot change the source and destination positions. I'm going to write instruction MOV. See the third column of table, that is example. I will be writing MOV AX, BX. AX is my destination register, source will be BX. This instruction is written in register addressing mode. I'm going to transfer content of BX register to AX. Now here your source and destination can be either registers, it can be one register, one memory location, it can be one register and second will be IO port number with which I can access it. So it depends on how you are going to write. Source and destination both cannot be memory locations for move instruction. You're not going to have memory transfer in between directly by writing in the move instruction. You have to take help of one register and second will be memory location that is allowed there. Next instruction you have here is the push instruction. This push comes when you are going to work with stack segment. The stack segment memory is going to work with the push instruction. So what this push instruction will do, the concept you must have studied even in the data structure. The stack is there. One by one values you will be copying in the stack memory. And when you want to get it back, you use the pop instruction. So it here also you have a stack pointer. So what happens when I run push instruction? See the example here, push and BX. When I run this instruction, it decrements, your processor decrements stack pointer by 2 and it will copy the content of BX register into the stack memory. Again, if I write push BX, it will follow the same way. It will decrement the content of stack pointer by 2 and it will copy the content of your register in the stack memory. Similar to that, you have next instruction push F. Push F, F stands for flag register. If I want to copy content of flag register in the stack memory, I will write this instruction. Now push F, the F itself is telling you it is the flag register. So you need not write any source over there. Like the push BX, we are writing BX because we want to copy BX in stack memory. But when I am writing push F, this F is indirectly telling you that go for only the flag register. So it will be only push and F, push F instruction. No need to give any source operand there. Exact opposite to push you have is the pop instruction. Pop instruction will take data from the stack memory. So what it will do, it will first increment the location of stack pointer. What happens, it will copy the data and then it will increment the stack pointer by 2. exact opposite operation to push is done with the pop instruction. Similar to push F, you have pop F. When you are going to copy any register on your stack memory, you want to get it back, you will write instruction pop F, POP and F instruction. By implicit operation, it will copy the content in the flag register directly. Next instruction you have is exchange. Exchange is when you want to exchange the content of source and destination operand, it will directly work with the exchange instruction. Like I am going to write, see the example, exchange AX comma BX. What will happen? The content of AX will get swapped with content of BX register. Next instruction you have is just for using your input and output devices. These two instructions are used only when you are going to have I/O devices connected over there. Mainly when you go for any hardware interfacing, you are going to connect a keypad over there. And with keypad, you are pressing some numbers or some alphabets and your processor is accessing that. That time you are going to use this in and out instruction. In instruction will take the content from port number inside accumulator. It is given here. Like I'm writing in AL comma 34. This 34 is indicating some of the port number. You are available with 0 to 255. These are the port numbers. From this, any port number can be used for connection of your input-output devices. Similarly, I'm writing out instruction. Out is at port number 80, I am going to have some of the output device and there I want to send the content of AL register. So it will copy the content of AL register to the device connected at port number 80. So these are your first few instructions which are required for data transfer. So if you observe all this instruction, only data is transferred from one location to another. Next data transfer instructions you have is, first one is here is LEA. LEA stands for load effective address. Load effective address will take two things, destination as well as source. Now, yesterday we have seen the effective address concept. When I am going to declare some of the variables inside my data segment and I need to take its offset value or its effective address that I want to use in the program. So I am going to use here instruction load effective address. What it will do? See the example. I'm writing LEABX comma new. This new is one of the variable or label that I am declaring in my program, in my data segment. And LEA will take the offset value of new. If it is located at some location number 1000, starting from some data segment at 2000, it will copy that effective address inside your BX register. I'll show these examples, all these example instructions we are going to use in our program, and that time I will show you which effective addresses are getting loaded inside these registers. You can see that in the TASM software. Next instruction you have is LAHF. What this instruction will do? F, wherever F is coming, it stands for flag register. So you want to copy the flag register into AH. AH is higher byte of your accumulator register. When we use it in 16-bit, we call it as AX. But I want to use only higher and lower byte of accumulator. I will use it separately as AH and AL. When I'm going to write this instruction LAHF, it copies lower byte of flag register into AH. So by default, it is AH mentioned in the instruction. So I am just going to write instruction LAHF. No need to give any separate operand over there because flag register, lower byte of flag register will get copied into accumulator registers AH part, higher byte of accumulator. Similarly, next instruction you have is SAHF. SHF, it will copy the content of AH to lower byte of flag register. S stands for store it or save it. Save the content of AH register to lower byte of flag register. Again, there is no need to give any separate operand because it is going to work by default on AH part of accumulator and flag register. Next instruction you have is LDS or LES. Either you can use LDS or LES. DS stands for data segment, ES stands for extra segment. So directly when I want to copy some content of the memory location, like this number here, at this number, starting from this number, in the 4 locations, there are some content copied. I want to get it copied in the BX, as well as either if I'm using LDS instruction, it will copy in data segment, or if I'm using LES instruction, I will copy it in the extra segment. So it will copy the content of memory location starting from 4326, then 4327, 4328, and 4329. At these 4 locations, there are any 4 8-bit numbers stored. And I want to copy that. So what will happen? From 4326 onwards, next 2 numbers will get copied in the BX register. Those 26 and 27 location number content will get in BX. 28 and 29 location number will go in either ES, extra segment, or DS, that is data segment. Next instruction you have here is translate. It is written as mnemonic is XL80. This is translate a byte in AL. Normally it is used when you are going to have hardware interfacing to check the lookup table entries. Like I'm going to store something, like if this kind of code is coming, then you go and check in the lookup table what is the exact content I need for that, and that time I am going to use this instruction. For our case, in our programming, we are not going to use this instruction because this is a hardware part. When we are going to interface it, we need that. We are not going to have any hardware facing. We will first concentrate on all software instructions. So these are all your data transfer instructions. Maybe in the paper you may get question, like even in the this one MCQ, some questions, which of the following is not data transfer instruction, and this is the list given to you, and maybe one instruction is different from this. So you should clearly identify which instruction is not coming for the data transfer. If you see all these instructions, they are not going to manipulate your data. They are just going to transfer your data from one location to another, or from source to destination. That's why they are known as data transfer instructions. Okay. Next category you have is data manipulation instruction. When I say manipulation, means I'm going to work on it. You may also call it as data processing instructions. But for 886, the name given in the book or name given by 886 is data manipulation. They're classified into 3 main categories. One is either you go for all arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Second, you can go for all logical or bit manipulation instruction. In logical, you can go for AND, OR, NOT, XOR. These all logical gates that we have studied. For that, here you are provided with instructions. And third one, you can go for shift operation. Like any 8-bit content or 16-bit content is given to you, and you want to shift bit by bit to right side or to the left side. So for that purpose, you are provided with this shift instruction. All the instructions coming in these 3 categories are going to change the content of your data, content of your operands that you are going to mention there. Like when I say you add 2 numbers, definitely answer you are going to get. So there will be change in the content. When I'm going to apply shift operation, rotate operation, definitely I'm going to get new number which will be different from my original data. That's why they are called as data manipulation instructions. In data manipulation, first category you have is arithmetic instruction. In arithmetic instruction, you can go for addition, subtraction. Add will just go for addition without carry, and ADC instruction will go for add with carry. Which two operands you want to work, that you have to mention here, destination and source. Either I can use add ax comma bx, or I can use ADC ax comma bx. Similarly, you have subtraction instruction SUB or SBB. SUB will consider only subtraction without borrow. SBB will consider subtraction with borrow. The carry flag from the flag register works as carry when you are operating on addition instruction, and it works as borrow flag when you are working with subtraction instructions. Then you have increment. I just want to increment the content of my register by 1. Normally you do like for loop में I plus plus करते हो, I minus minus करते हो, same operation. Increment and decrement. Increment the content of my operand by 1. Now increment will operate on a single operand, so this instruction will take only one thing. Increment and destination, decrement and destination. Next one you have is multiplication instruction. When I want to multiply two numbers, I can use this multiplication instruction. For multiplication, if you see, I'm just giving only one operand, that is source is written. So what will be destination? So by default, destination will be accumulator register. When I'm going for 8-bit multiplication, I'm going to have my one of the operand in AL. Second, I'm going to give, for example, in this case, in BH. So I'm writing mul BH. What will happen? Accumulator content AL will get multiplied with BH, and answer whatever you are going to get for 8-bit multiplication will be stored in the AX register. This is the case when you are going for 8-bit multiplication. If you are going for 16-bit multiplication, instead of BH, I will be writing BX. So what will happen? Your one destination operand will be in AX, second will be in the BX, and you are multiplying AX multiplied by BX. So when you are going for 16-bit multiplication, sometimes your answer of your multiplication will be greater than 16-bit number. So in that case, to keep your result, you are going to use the pair DX and AX. This is by default setting for accumulator. You are not allowed to change it. So DX and AX pair will keep your answer. 16-bit multiplication का answer, maybe it is 32-bit. So 32-bit कहाँ पे जाएगा number? It will be pair of DX and AX. DX will take higher byte of your answer. AX will take lower byte of your answer. This is by default setting for 8086. Similar to multiplication, you have IMUL. IMUL will go for sign multiplication. If you are going for any sign numbers, sign means negative number also you can consider for that. That time you can use this IMUL. It works similar to your MUL instruction. Next you have divide. I want to divide two numbers. So one number will be by default in AX. So AX divided by CX, or AL or AH divided by CL or CH, whatever you are going to mention there. So when this division takes place, if 8-bit division is there, AL will give you quotient and AH will give you remainder of the division. When you are going for 16-bit division, your AX will give you quotient and DX will give you remainder. This is again by default setting for your 8086. Similar to DIV, you have IDIV. IDIV goes for sign division. You can consider any sign numbers for division. It is working in the same way like DIV. By default, answers will be coming in accumulator as a quotient and your remainder will be in the DX or AH and AL. All these instructions we are going to see one by one in the TASM so that you will understand how these instructions work. This next group of instructions we will continue in the next practical or next session, because whichever instruction we have just now seen here, we will try to write programs on that. It will give you more understanding of these instructions. And then in the next coming sessions, we will be going for the remaining part of the instructions. Okay. Now these instruction set PPTs I have already uploaded on the Moodle. If you want to use that for your reference, you can use, or you can use any book or any e-source for your 8086 instructions. Now I'm stopping this part and stop sharing, and I will share my TASM screen. I'll show you how to write programs in the TASM software. Meanwhile, I'm expecting that you all have installed your TASM software on your laptop or desktop machine. I'm just sharing my screen, just a minute. Okay, I hope the screen is visible to you. Now see, as you open your TASM software which is installed right now and double click on the icon, you are going to get a screen like this. All of you are getting this screen. Please type in the chat box. Let me know that you are also working with me. Now this, once you get this screen, the next thing is for, okay, thank you. So the thing is that now you require here one editor to type the code of your program, and then you are going to assemble the program, and then you are going to see the output of the program. Okay. So to get the editor, you are going to first type command here, edit, EDIT, and press enter. All of you type command EDIT, edit, and press enter. It will open a blue color screen like this. You can see on the screen. I'm showing my screen here. Now this is the editor which is allowing you to type your code of the program, and then you can save the file with .asm extension, and then you will assemble the file, link the file, and then you can go for the debugger screen. Right now just see here what I am writing, and then I will give you time to follow the code also. Normally when you are going to write here the program, the 8086 program is divided into various segments. The concept of segmentation is implemented when you are going to write assembly language program. So major segment in all the programs you are going to have is the code segment, because the name itself is telling you code segment is to keep the code of your program. So when you are going to write all the instructions, normally when you write in other language, we'll take the example of C or C++. We start with some main function, and then within the main function we write our program. Why we follow that? Because this is the main function, which is the first executable function by your C program. Similarly, here we are going to use it for the code segment. And now this code segment, when I'm going to use, I have to use some assembler directives to direct my assembler that you consider this for this purpose. So from that, my first assembler directive here is assume. Assume, and I'm going to use CS here as code. Now see here, this is not case sensitive. Either you can go for lower case or you can go for upper case. But जो use कर रहे हो वही notation पूरे program में common रखो. If you are writing code as a capital, you write code capital throughout the program. जैसे आपको लिखना है, you can write down. Same thing for assume. Assume I am writing A capital. Not required. If you want to write all letters capital, you write it. If you want to write all letters lowercase, you can write it. But follow the same syntax within that program at least. So I'm telling assume CS colon as code. You also please type this instruction. I'm telling my assembler that you consider code, wherever this code word is coming, you consider that I'm considering it for code segment. So I'm writing that one. Then I'm opening my code segment. Please don't do any spelling mistakes. Normal errors with students are spelling mistakes and they feel that no, मैंने तो सब अच्छा type किया है, still it is giving me errors. There are few students who do that. Please take care of spellings. I'm writing code segment. And then now I should write the code of my program. The first simple program we are seeing here is for 8-bit addition. Addition of two 8-bit numbers. This is not a part of your experiment. I'm giving you examples just for practice, just for understanding of instruction set. Then I'm going to write here start. This start is a label that I'm going to tell in the code segment, because the code segment is whole 64 kilobyte memory. So somewhere I'm telling that the start is the label. Instead of start, whichever variable name you like, you can write it. I'm writing start because it is somewhere relevant name for my starting of the program. So I'm telling start and put colon symbol. And then I should write my instructions. The first instruction that I want to write is move. I'm going for two numbers addition, two 8-bit numbers addition. So for 8-bit numbers, I'm going to use AL as my first register. In AL, you can write down any number that you want. I'm taking my first number as 15, 15. Any 8-bit number you can take for that purpose. Then I'm taking my second number in BL register. Again, you can take any number. I'm taking here 25. My first number is getting in AL, second is going in the BL, and then I'm writing instruction add AL comma BL. I hope you are also typing with me. Three simple instructions I'm writing AL, BL, and add AL comma BL. So these three instructions enough. I will get my answer in AL because AL here is the destination. If you want to copy your result and store it somewhere, you can write next one instruction move. I am copying my result in the CL register. At the end, I want to copy it. So I'm writing instruction like this. So my added answer, added sum will come in AL first. and I'm copying that in the CL register. So CL should give me final answer of my addition. Fine. Now after this, when you are going to run this program in the assembler, you need to have here the interface is different one. So you have to, you need to come to know that this is the end of the program. This is the termination of the program. For that case, we are going to use one instruction for calling the interrupt in the program. That interrupt I can call with the help of INT instruction. In the further instruction set theory part, we will come to know the details of INT. But here for our case, I'm just going to show you how the INT instruction can be used in the program. I'm going to call the interrupt, and there are specific numbers given for the interrupt. So from that, 21 number interrupt is used for this purpose. I want to terminate my program properly. So how I can terminate my program properly? So for that, I am going to call interrupt INT instruction, and 21 is the number of my interrupt. This is hexadecimal, so I am writing H. Wherever you are finding that H is the notation, or it is denoting, it is hexadecimal numbers. I'm going to call this interrupt 21. Now, if I just write INT 21, the INT 21 is used for multiple purposes. Many operations are there. From that many operations, I want here termination of my program. So for termination of my program, the instruction required is I need to copy AH register with value 4C. Just see here. AH register must be loaded with value 4C. Then only interrupt 21 will work for termination of the program. Many times you run the code and you don't answer, or you don't know why these last two lines are written. So why these two lines are written? I want to terminate my program by calling interrupt 21. And interrupt 21 serves various purposes. From that, one purpose is termination of the program, which is possible when I'm going to load 4C value in my AH register. And this is hexadecimal, so I'm writing H here. Don't consider this is not 4CH. This H is just telling this is hexadecimal number. And then this is the end of my program. Because my instructions are over, I should end my program properly. So how to end the program? First, you should end your code segment. I should end my code segment that I am ending with ENDS, assembler directive. Code ends. And then I should end my main program. And now when I'm writing this start label, I have to write end and start. Whichever label you're writing in the place of start, if you have written ABC or XYZ, you write that after end. This is indicating end of my program. Getting this? Type the same code at your side and we will see the output of this program. Everybody done?
Ma'am, will you explain last MOV command again, please?
Which one?
Last MOV command.
This one. Okay. See, this is interrupt 21H. Interrupt 21H is used for various purposes. We are going to use 4, 5 from that. So this interrupt 21, when I'm going to use for termination of program, I need to load 4C value in AH register. Then only these two lines will terminate your code of when you are going to run this in the assembler. For that purpose, last two lines are written. AH loaded with 4C value. H indicates, last H indicates this is hexadecimal number. INT 21, I'm calling that interrupt. Again, H indicates hexadecimal number. Wherever after number you are finding H, this is indicating this is hexadecimal number. And then I am ending the program. Now you save your file, go in the file menu, click on save, and whatever name you want to give for this, you can write down. Now this is my first program, so I'm writing f1.asm. Save your file with .asm extension. Any name that you won't find it relevant, you can write down. I'm storing it as f1.asm. I hope everybody has saved the program. Now we have to go for next very important commands to first assemble the file and then go for debugging of the file. Click on the file menu and click on exit. It will come back to your original screen. Here you are supposed to go for typing the commands to first assemble the file. All of you, please listen to next 2-3 commands, because you don't understand that afterwards and you make so many mistakes and you feel I don't have any mistake and still my program is not running. For last 15 years I'm finding the same complaints from many students. So please listen to the next commands. You miss out the things that I am instructing and then afterwards you are not going to get any output. So for TASM, to assemble the file, your command is TASM space, write down the name of the file that you want to assemble here. I am having f1.asm file name. I am writing command TASM f1.asm and enter. If your file has no error, no warning, it will show you the way that right now you can see on the screen. My file is not having any error. My file is not having any warning message, and I am assembling my program properly. And if you have followed the same lines of code like mine, you will also get the same output. All of you are getting this? Please answer, type in the chat box. Are you getting the same answer, same way on the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now here, this is your assembling of your file is done successfully. The next command you are supposed to write is tlink, P-L-I-N-K. Now this plink command is used for linking multiple files. In our case right now, this is the simplest program. So we are just working on a single file. But you have to write the command, it is must. But when I have multiple files and I want to link that together, I am going to use this command tlink. So tlink and write down the name of the file. Don't put .asm extension. Just write down tlink and file name. And you will get some instruction like this. Of your file is done. Now next command I will go is your debugging the file. For debugging, you have command td and write down the name of the file only. Td and file name. And once you press enter, it will open any one new screen, which is blue color screen. td and write down file name. Don't put ASM extension. I repeat, don't put ASM extension. Just write down td and file name and press enter. Like this, you all have got the screen, blue color screen. It is showing you program has no symbol table. Okay. Right, click on OK. Everybody is getting same screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now I will explain you how to see this screen, how to interpret this screen. Don't press any key, just see here. If you see this screen is divided into four major blocks or four major squares. The first one, which is right now highlighted, where I am moving my cursor, is your code segment. Code segment denoted by CS, because here you have written CS code. Tell that this is the code you are considering in the program. That is the job of your assume assembler directive. This CS, and you can find there is number 0000, and then there is some another number. So what these numbers are telling you? The base address for CS code segment is 0000, and from that it is going to base address of CS will be some other number, but 000 is the offset value, and from there your instructions are stored in the code segment. So first is 000, then 0002, then 4, then 6, then 8, because these are your all 16 bits instruction. Every instruction will take more than 2 locations to store your content. Then move AL and 15 is your instruction. Second instruction, move BL and 25. Like that, your n number of instructions will appear in this screen. This is your code segment. Below code segment, right now, see my cursor, you have data segment, DS, and something is written here. So this is the garbage data. Right now, in our program, we are not using data segment. You will see next example. When you are going to use data segment in your program, your data will reside in these locations. These are the memory map where you can see where your data will be residing. After that, you have, see the down part, SS. SS is your stack segment. The stack segment, when you are going to use any stack memory or stack segment related instruction, you will find the content is coming in this SS area. Then above that, this is the main part of our observation. You are available with all the general purpose index and base and segment registers. First, you have AX, BX, CX, and DX. These four are your general purpose registers. Then you have SI and DI, source index and destination index register. Then you have BP and SP, base pointer and stack pointer. Then you have four segment registers: data segment, extra segment, stack segment, and code segment. You can see the numbers given here. So these are the base addresses for your segments. Any number you will find, maybe your numbers are different than me, or next time when you run the program, you will get same number or different also. It depends on which memory your 8086 is assigned right now to work with this TASM software. This is again a simulator. So based on that, you will get some numbers here. And the last one you have is IP. IP is instruction pointer. The job of instruction pointer is to point to the first instruction of the program when your program is initially loaded for first time. And as you are going to run line by line instruction, it will go on showing your next sequential instructions in the program. We will see the content of all these registers as we are going to run this program. After that, what you have is, this is the flag register. Exact rightmost column is your flag register. These are the bits of the flag register. C for carry, Z for 0, S for sign, O for overflow, P for parity, then A for auxiliary carry, I is for interrupt, and D is for your direction flag. So these are some of the bits of your flag register. So if I want to see if my carry is set or not, if my answer is positive or negative, I can go and observe the related bit over here, and it will tell me the output of that particular instruction, status of my flag after the recently executed instruction. Understood what are these four columns or four blocks you are finding? Now we are going to run this program one by one by pressing F7 instruction. As I'm going to press one time F7, I need to wait and I need to observe the different registers. It is going to tell you the output of the program. This is not going to give you any output as your other languages give you in your GUI, graphical user interface. Here you don't have. You are supposed to observe the contents of registers, and that will tell you whether your program is giving you correct output or not. Right now, our instruction pointer is setting on the first line of my instruction. So what I'll do, I'll press F7 key for one time. So press your F7 key for one time and just wait. See the content of all the registers. Right side you can see AX contents are changed and IP contents are changed. Just observe that. The two colors which are in the white one on the rightmost side of your screen, you can see my first number is AL. I am loading in the AX register. Second is BL. I'm pressing F7 one more time and I'm getting my BL register is loaded. Right now you can see the content of IP is 0004 because we are supposed to run third instruction of my program. Then I press F7 key one more time and I should get the answer of 15 plus 25. 50 plus 25, 5 plus 5 will be 10 and it will consider it in hexadecimal. So output you are getting here in AL as 3A. And that 3A I am moving to CL register. I'm pressing F7 one more time and I'm getting this answer. 003A is my final answer of my addition. Right now you can see the P flag is set to 1. That means the answer's parity is 1. That means it is even parity. Then my program is done. This was the simple program, addition of two numbers. I want to terminate the program. I'm pressing F7 key. You can see the content of AX. AH part is now 4C here. AH is loaded with 4C and I'm pressing F7. My interrupt 21 instruction is executed and it is telling me program is terminated. As you are going to see, the program is terminated. The content of all the registers are changed here. You are going to get your original data that you have started your program with. And as I'm going to click on OK, this is the termination of my program. If I want to rerun the same program, I will press F7 key one more time. It will ask me, program already terminated. Do you want to reload it? If you want, you can say yes, and it will start from the first line of the program. That is the end of your program. You see at your screen, run the program line by line by pressing F7 key and observe the output. Everybody is getting any doubts, please ask.
Getting, man.
Yeah. Now this
Ma'am,
is, yes.
after TD command, there is a prompt, program not found.
Because you have not run tlean command.
Ma'am, I have done it.
No. Then you must have written .asm extension.
Ma'am, I will try again.
Yeah. I said no, the common mistakes by students. Now I want to exit from the screen. You can go in file and press exit or press Alt and X. It will come to your Tazam screen. I want to open the same program and I'll make the same program changes. I'll write edit f1.asm. You type your file name and open the file in editor. Now instead of this 8-bit numbers, I want to go for 16-bit numbers. So similar changes I'll make here. I'm writing AX, take any number. I'm making changes in the same program. You also follow the same way. Just make the changes according to your 16-bit data. See what I am doing here. AX loaded with first number, BX loaded with second number. Now these are my 16-bit numbers. Any numbers that you want, you can take here. Add AX, BX. I'm keeping my result in the CX. Final result I want to see in the CX. And then I am writing my last lines. Save your program properly because you have changed it now. Exit. And with arrow keys, you can have these commands here. Arrow keys you have on the board. Keypad. Go for first ASM. With arrow keys, T link. And then I'll go for TD. It will open my screen now. Now I'm working on 16-bit numbers. First number.
We have to save as or save.
What?
We have to save the file or save as. मतलब same file में करना है कि new file में.
If you want multiple files, you can put it as save as. अगर आपको same ही file पे changes करके रखना है तो keep save. I am suggesting keep it in the same file because these are the practice programs. Wherever necessary, I will ask you to open a new file. It is up to your decision. I'm loading my two program AX, BX, two numbers. Going for addition, my final answer. Copying it in the CX. You can try at your side. Once this is done, please reply in the chat box so that I'll come to know all of you are getting the answer for this also.
Ma'am, to run the program, you have to write TD space F1.
Yes. Please reply in the chat box. I'm finding Anurag has done. Okay, Krishna. Yash. Shubham. Mitesh, Prathamesh. Very good. See, I'm expecting that everybody is executing this program. If not, please ask your doubt. If you have any difficulties in downloading the software, please ask. From my side, I'm trying to help you out in all ways. Now, due to online teaching, physically I cannot see on the screen. Normally, when you are working in the lab, I used to see your screen and I used to sit besides you, and then I can find out the errors in your program, which is not possible right now here. But doesn't mean that you don't ask anything. Please ask your doubt. Now, I'm going to work with some different way for the same program. Addition of two numbers only. Now I am changing my in the same file, but I suggest you to open a new file with editor. Just type edit and open a new file. I am making changes in the same one. You don't do that. Because I'm going to give you some different way to work here. You open editor, go in the file menu and open a new blank file. And then you start typing this code with me. I'll explain you line by line how to go for it. We are going to use data segment now. I'm adding one more part here in the assume statement. Initially, it was only CS as a code. Now I'm writing DS as data also. Please open a new file and do the changes. Open your data segment. Now this data segment is used when you want to, sorry, my spelling mistake. Now I'm going to declare my few variables here in the data segment. I want to keep my data in the data segment and I want to use that in my program. So how to use that? See here first and then you type. Any variable names you can use here. For my case, I'm using number 1, N1. I'm working for 16-bit numbers. I want to go for addition of two 16-bit numbers. So when I'm going for 16-bit numbers, it goes with DW, assembler directive, define word. And then you can write down the number for N1. I'm writing this number. My first number variable N1, which will take number 1, 2, 5, 6. You can take any variable name, any number. I'm taking my second number. N2, again of DW type, and you write down any number for this. You can even write A, B, C, D, E to F numbers also. And then I want my answer, NS variable. This will also come as DW type. And I don't know what will be the answer of this. So there are different ways to write this. One is assign the memory location for this and keep this location empty with question mark. And that is the end of my data segment. So I will write data ends. Everybody is with me. I'm declaring three variables here. First two are N1 and N2, and I'm assigning some numbers for that. Third variable will be my answer variable. And right now I don't have data for that. So what I'm doing, I'm telling my assembler to reserve 1 byte, 1 memory of DW type, word type, a DUP assembler directive, and in the bracket I'm putting question mark, which is telling just assign the memory undefined data. It may go to 00 data also. Or if you want to write 00, you can write down in the bracket 00. I don't know, I'm putting question mark. End the data segment with assembler directive ENDS, data ends. And now you go to your code segment. Open my code segment, write this start. Open your code segment, write start, and I'm waiting for you to complete it. If this is done, just see here. Now, when you are declaring data segment, you should load the address of data segment. With this instruction, move AX, comma data, move DS is my data segment, comma AX. These two lines I am declaring for data segment initialization. These two lines I am writing for data segment initialization. When you are putting semicolon, after semicolon, whatever is written is considered as comment part, which is not executable part. These two lines I am writing just for data segment initialization. Then I will load data of my program. I am having two variables. First variable I want to load in AX register. I'm writing move AX, N1. I'm writing move BX, N2. Add AX, BX, instruction will be same. And now I need to copy my result at my answer variable. I'm writing move answer, AX. AX will get answer of your addition. And end the program as it is. Complete the code. These two are just to load the instruction first. This is addition and last is copy the result. Once you're done with this, please type in the chat box so that we will go for debugging of the program. Very good. I save my file. You also save your file and remember which file name you are giving. You are supposed to use that for assembling. I'm using same one. File has no error. Assembling done successfully. T-link, linking done successfully. And TD, I'm opening the debugger screen. Now there will be slight change in the interpretation of the program. Once you come to this screen, wait, I will tell you how to check your data segment. Everybody with me? Got this screen? Okay. Now see, In the program, we have written move AX comma data, the first line of our code segment. In our editor, we have written move AX comma data, but instead of data here, you are finding some number 48AD. What is this number? This number is the base value of your data segment. From this location, your data segment is starting. So what I am doing, I need to first load the data from that segment, and then it will go for loading my numbers. Secondly, if you see, we have written move AX comma N1, move BX comma N2. But here I am not finding N1 and N2, but I am finding in the square bracket some memory location numbers. So these are the location numbers or offset values from your data segment. So how to run this program now? See, press F7 for first time. You can see AX and IP contents are changed. Press F7 for one more time and just wait. Now your data segment is loaded. अब डेटा सेगमेंट में आपने क्या किया है, दो नंबर्स डिक्लेयर किए हैं N1 एंड N2. यू मस्ट बी नोइंग विच आर योर नंबर्स. अब मुझे चेक करना है कहाँ पे है मेरा डेटा सेगमेंट, कहाँ पे है मेरे नंबर्स. सो व्हाट आई शुड डू, फर्स्ट क्लिक ऑन दिस डाउन साइड एरिया. राइट नाउ यू कैन सी माई कर्सर ऑन द स्क्रीन. क्लिक करो और वहां पे जाके राइट क्लिक करो. All of you, please listen this. First, you click on this down area, down after your code segment. Go for right click and click on go to statement, go to option. Once you click on go to, you are going to get some screen like this. Here I am going to type, I want to go